Hello, friends, and welcome to another Monday. # Real Race Talk. This is the Revved Up Sports Show. Man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Folks say, well, the off season's here and all this, that, and the other. Well, the stuff never stops, Bobby. And it's just a lot of different people that we talk to. It's like, well, I bet you guys are bored during the off season. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's the best time. I mean, that's the best time when we get to have these little conversations that we have each and every Monday right here at 6:30 on Russ.
Yeah, you never know. We might end up picking up some legends, not just Texas legends that we're known for, but also hit some of the high banked high rollers and some Hall of Famers if we get a chance to work them into the schedule this offseason. So lots of cool stuff. Check the archive. As we said, archive is pretty extensive. It'll be out there. We're on everybody's favorite platform for the podcast, the replay podcast of the livecast. So just look for us. All you got to do is just do a Google search Revved UP Sports Show. You'll find us in a lot of places.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Excuse me. And we are live tonight, of course, just, all the different places, our sites. We're actually live now on the Twitter feed at Revved Up Race Talk. That has been reactivated. So we're doing that once again, of course, on Racing America, on RaceOn, on the free Texas Sports Unfiltered app. So for the folks that wanted the audio only stuff, I mean, we've got that right there. And if you're checking out on the audio only broadcast, it's live. You can hit that code of text line at 222-9328. Of course, we have the YouTube chat that is going to be blowing and going throughout the evening. So you can always check in right there as well. And of course, that chat is presented by Audiovisual Consultations. So just lots to talk about on the program tonight. Kevin Rogers coming up here in about 5 minutes as KR kind of manning the ship there, as he will be the one guiding the South Texas Shootout happening at South Texas Race Ranch coming up. 7 o'clock, 7:05-ish. We'll talk to JC Umscheid, one of our great friends from Texas that has gone on and doing really cool things. And then around 7:30, bottom of that 7 o'clock hour, we've got some big stuff happening in Texas asphalt racing. For all the folks that ask, what's going on in Texas asphalt racing? Well, you're in the right place right here, because we tell you all those things, because we know that, all right, Bobby? We're privy to those things before some others aren't.
Well, I mean, usually at least 30 minutes before anyway.
No, well, better late than never. I mean, that's always the thing with that. I mean, and that's
some tracks use us as outlets for breaking news and different type of stuff. So, you never know what's going to pop up on the show. That's why you should tune in every show.
And the ones that don't want to drop stuff with us, I mean, good luck. I mean, all the best to them. I mean, drop it wherever you want to drop it. But, the whole thing about it is, I think for a long time, we have always talked about with the show, it's like when we have stuff that's going to drop, or we have news or whatever it is, I mean, reach out to us. I mean, our fee is pretty cheap. In fact, it's miserably cheap to do that stuff. And the ones that take advantage of it, thank you, because it's folks like you that make this program great.
That's right. We have lots of great partners, lots of handshake deals in the works. So we have a lot of fun. If you're interested in joining the show, just hit us up on one of our socials and/or the Revved UP Sports Show email there with the Gmail account. So you can, if you're interested in joining our partner network or our streaming network, whatever the case may be, just hit us up on the Gmail, revvedupsportshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, because it's going to be about go time right now, where everybody's making plans on what's going to be going on for 2025. man, it's weird to say that. Everything going on with 2025. And of course, we with the show will be, previewing. And I'll tell you right now, coming up next week, just kind of a little tease right here. Next week, it's going to be a very in-depth. I mean, we've got a loaded program this evening that's live. We're live, by the way. When we say live cast, it's live. It ain't recorded. We're hoping. I put a video out earlier. I hope we don't get the Netflix problem happening, because that happens. And that happens, Bobby. I got to tell you, I was having a lot of moments on Friday to where people were going batshit crazy over whatever was happening right there. And I'm like, you try to produce something like that. It's going to happen sooner than later.
Well, I mean, if you have 60 million people on one stream, chances are it's probably going to start buffering. Lord knows, if we get 600 people on one stream, it might start to stutter a little bit. But hell, those are always good problems to have.
Well, and the main thing about that is, I mean, when it comes to servers and everything, because I do get a lot of people that reach out to me and ask. It's like, hey, I want to get into live casting. I want to get into podcasting. What do I do? I'm like, I'm not the person to ask, because you're my competitor. so I'm not going to tell you the ins and outs, but the one thing that I will tell you is you better make damn sure that you have whatever your connection is, you better have that set up to where it has a lot of gonads, because the higher of the people that are watching this, it's going to be really digging at those whatever they call them, that will drastically it'll hurt your performance. I mean, it really will.
I guess when you have a lot of people, your performance can suffer.
Yeah, well, and if you don't have a lot of people, your performance can suffer. Speaking of performance suffering, I know that I pledged my allegiance yesterday on Facebook that I'm going to go ahead and cheer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cowboys play tonight. They're taking on Houston. I don't know if this is still the old Governor's Cup that you used to have back in the old days, but did you see what happened? Have you seen the latest?
What happened now?
So this was supposed to be, because it's a great night in Arlington. I mean, the weather feels great. I mean, today when I was out doing some stuff at my home O'Reilly store, we saw a lot of wipers because the rain was coming down and people realized their stuff was cracked. But so it's a very cool night. So the Cowboys decide, okay, we're going to open the roof. We're going to go ahead and open the roof at AT&T, and we're going to have this as an open game. Well, as they open the roof begins to fall apart.
Oh, no.
You had one piece of shrapnel that came all the way down and landed somewhere out of the way. Then you had another piece of what was determined to be sheet metal that fell off and it's in one of the catwalks. The NFL says, we can't play this game with that there, because that's going to be really, really bad. So they sent somebody up there to like screw this thing into the catwalk to make sure it's not coming down and the roof stays closed. Dallas Cowboys, man. 2024 Dallas Cowboys. That right there tells you what's going on with this.
The season in a nutshell.
The season in a nutshell. The franchise in a nutshell. Did you not think about opening that thing and maybe testing it and make sure that it was going to retract in the right way? You don't open that thing very often. But anyway.
They're trying to copy Houston, because Houston had it open for the big Sunday night football game a couple of weeks ago.
Well, and I'm here to tell you, I think this is going to be, as soon as we're done here, even though that I think I know what's going to happen, I'm going to check this thing out and just kind of see what happens. I mean,
See, I'm perplexed again. A couple of weeks ago, when it was the Lions and the Texans playing on Sunday night, I was a Houston Texan fan. But I had Jared Goff as my fantasy quarterback. And of course, his ass threw 5 interceptions and killed my fantasy team that night. Well, tonight, I'm a Texan fan still, obviously. But the guy I'm playing is starting CJ Stroud. So I'm perplexed again. I'd like to see the Texans whoop the Cowboys' ass, which they could, because it's a home game in Dallas.
Oh, they're going to, Bobby.
Yeah, but I don't need. I have a 50-point lead. I don't need a record-setting night from CJ Stroud where he wins by like 51. Like he gets like 51 points and I lose by like 1 point when I have a 50-point lead going into the final tonight.
He's going to get a lot of points because his defense is. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It could be wrong. This is a lot of times the games that the Cowboys win. So I don't know. But it is what it is. I just thought that the stadium coming apart is something that's kind of par for the course right there for the Dallas Cowboys. One of the things as we start moving in, and we're going to talk as we get closer now to Thanksgiving and into December, there's a lot of events that are coming up, the big events. And I don't just mean around here. We're going to talk about the South Texas Shootout coming up here momentarily. But the other part of this is, you've got, you got the Snowball Derby that is coming up. And I really think one of the things, it is a totally different feel, I think, for the Snowball Derby this year in and of itself, because you're still going to have, I see the entrance. I know that folks are going to be practicing over the weekend. Our man Jared Maupin, that we talk about all the time on here. We've talked about him multiple times, talked to him on here. He's going to be practicing on Friday. They're going to tow back, and then he's going to try to get into the show at the race ranch. So that's amping up. It really is a different feel to me. That obviously, Racing America is a streaming partner of this program, but with Flo taking this thing over, feels a little different to me.
You don't see the hype. You don't see the hype videos. That's the biggest thing. I haven't seen a hype video for it in a couple of months. I saw one that Dave Moody voiced over a couple of months ago that was broadcast. I want to say it was on the social media page of Five Flags.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was on a Racing America social media platform. I'm pretty sure it was off of Five Flags. So I think that we don't have the hype videos like we normally have. I don't know. That's good and bad. To a certain extent, the Snowball Derby hypes its own stuff up because it is the Snowball Derby, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect this year. I expect the same thing, but there's always that sense, kind of like today when they announced the Amazon and the TNT.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of know what to expect, but not really. Kind of the biggest thing that took me by surprise with that Adam Alexander thing is that means it's going to take him away from the Xfinity series, because you got to find somebody for the Xfinity series to do all 35 races.
Yeah. That's it. That's the whole thing right there as to how that's going to work out. So I'm curious to see what happens there. But yeah, it is. With Flo, but Flo's business model, I think, is very different in the sense because it's always been with Racing America or Speed 51 to where you did have to buy it, as a PPV. But now, I'm assuming this is a part of. I know it is. I was looking at their schedule to where I think that they will just have people that are groomed and programmed into, but it really is that they don't have it is that hype is not there. I have done no promo videos for the Snowball Derby or promo audios, and that's kind of weird because we would do those in the past, and it's kind of slow coming into this.
It really is, but it's just there's a little change in philosophy over everything, right? If you've got it's hard to promote the Snowball Derby when your competitor's promoting it.
Well,
yeah, that's a little rough. Like you talked about, we don't want to give advice to our competitors in the podcast land, but kind of the same deal. But I get it. I totally understand it. That's the competition 101. Is how that all shakes out. So
yeah, and that's the thing to where I really think that for all the folks, sorry here for all the folks,
KR's not videoing in.
I'm not sure. I'm working on that. For all the folks that have talked about the whatever this goes back to the Netflix thing with Racing America, and here's the other thing where I think that folks don't understand, because a lot of times, I think where the misconception is with this, because let's take the fight, for example, the other night. It's like, my Netflix isn't working. My internet is fine. I'm testing my signal strength. Everything looks great. The problem is not at your house. The problem is at the venue, because there are so many people. And that's like, we see that so many times, Bobby, to where folks go to a cup race and they're like, oh man, I'm trying to post on Twitter and I can't because of the damn thing. That's a lot of people jamming in on that network. That's not a Netflix problem. That's not a Racing America, Flow, RaceOn. That's not their problem. That's, I guess it is, but that's just where a lot of people are trying to jam into this thing, and it makes it really, really hard.
Well, I remember when Sprint was the title sponsor of the Cup Series, they used to bring in those portable stations. We talked to some of the people there with our Aggie friend Kimberly. We used to talk to her about what Sprint was doing, where they used to bring in those portable machines, or the portable the cow cellular on wheels. where they bring in some stuff to, kind of like they bring in with some of the emergency
Yeah.
areas
When
and
you have a
stuff, bringing in some of those as a backup. So when you have that many people, obviously it's going to happen. I mean, obviously that fight, I mean, like we said, 60 million people watching it. It's going to put a strain on anything.
it's
I know
going to
that NFL has already inquired to make sure that's not going to happen on Christmas Day.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I
WWE was pretty interested too, since Raw's moving there in January.
yeah, well, that's one of those things to where you make that investment right there, and you're hoping that everything is going to work out. So anyway, that streaming conversation is something that we will continually have on this program because it is always something that's an issue. All right, let's dive in right here. Again, our guests, as always, presented by On Demand Shirts. This race coming up this weekend, the South Texas Shootout. Once again, the 14th annual happening at the South Texas Race Ranch. This is going to be a massive program. It just keeps growing the more and more that the week goes on, and now you're actually into race week to where the crap really hits a fan and it's go time. And I think that one of the things that Owen Pittman, has really gone and really building this thing even better. What's always been a great program. He's gone out, and now he and Kevin Rogers have teamed themselves up to work this thing. Let's go to KR Promotions. Our man Kevin Rogers checking in. KR, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. You got a good signal on me? Everything good?
Brother, you are as clear as if you were like on that TV as a Dallas Cowboy right now, my man. So doing really, really well. So how's the preparation going, man? I know there's a lot to do in these events.
Yeah, so I've actually been recording some behind the scenes stuff, building up to it, and hopefully work with RaceOn. I'm going to try to get some footage all week long and kind of do a little recap video kind of when we get done, just kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and let people see some of this side of it. But it's been fantastic. Owen and I have been friends for a long time, and we've been talking about doing something for a long time, and he called me a while back and said, "Hey, I think it's time." So I said, "Yeah, I think it is time." So it's a good event. A lot of pressure because he's done such a good job with it. I don't want to go down there. I usually, when we get done texting every night, I usually tell him like, "Hey, I apologize in advance if I screw this up." So, but I think it's going to be good. We got a lot of fun activity. Got a lot of unique stuff we're gonna debut at this race, just to put a little bit of fun in it for the drivers, put a little bit of fun in it for the fans, and just try to put on a little bit more of an event and a show for everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, anytime you have free beer on a pit party on Thursday night, I mean, that's a hell of a way to start out a weekend, right? On Demand Shirts, our good friends, our good partners, helping you out with the pit party there on Thursday night.
Yeah, James and that group. Funny story. I've still not met James Cole yet with On Demand Shirts. I'm actually heading down in the morning. I'm going to try to get there hopefully right after lunch and check out their program and see what all they offer. But he sent me a pretty cool travel bag that he embroidered and sent to me. Seems like a stand-up guy. I fact checked some people with him that know him, and nobody's talking bad about him, so he must be all right. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. But now we're going to get down to the ranch tomorrow evening, kind of get set up. We're going to pull our support trailer down. It's got a lot of our own stuff in it, just so we make sure we have everything we need, and then spend Wednesday pretty much decorating, doing whatever we need to do, make sure all of our partners banners are hung. We actually had quite a few product partners step up and say, "Hey, we want to get back to these valued competitors you guys are bringing in." So really appreciative of that. So just try to get down there and kind of get acclimated, get set in, go knock some doors, beat the streets, and try to get them last few that not sure if they're coming, get them on the hook, and probably go enjoy some of the Texas Roadhouse while we're down there.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a great partner there with the race ranch. Let me tell you something about James Cole and those folks. You're going to be blown away, KR, when you go into that place. I know the first time that I went in there, they're like, "Come over here," and they just kind of teased me. It's like when you're dating that girl in high school, kind of teases you a little bit, and then it's like, boom. Then they take you to the massive. I mean, they do so many really great things over there at On Demand Shirts, and of course, we're partnered up with them as well. So, KR, let's kind of talk about this event, because I think that the way that this thing, I think it was really cool this year that Owen did a really good job where he split this thing up, because the factory stocks, you've got the Outlaw 34 that's going to happen in December that you're going to be a part of as well. But this right here, where it's kind of a standalone event, and I think that's where South Texas kind of always gets themselves in trouble, not on purpose, but they're always head to head with other stuff. But topless limited modifieds, And dirt late models, KR, you can't get much better than that on a race show.
No, it's going to be a good show. When you throw the pure stocks in there, and
Yeah.
we got the dwarf cars coming Saturday, and then the micro mods, they're always entertaining. But kind of a standalone weekend. I don't think there's a whole lot going on in the region, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of eyes on our product. Hopefully in the stands, and if you can't make it down, hopefully you're tuned into RaceOn to check it out. But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about it. I've been down there the last 4 or 5 years. I've been up in the booth with you, I think, most of the time, Rodney, just
Yeah.
trying to stay out of your way and having a good time up there. But I tell you what, I've always been impressed with this event is the level of competition that comes from out of town, but how well the hometown crowd defends their turf. Like
Exactly.
I've said it before, and I think you and I talked about the last few years on the broadcast. Is I think South Texas is underrated as far as talent because Jared Moffitt, for instance, come up to Rocket in September and took home the Mize in the limited, and he was competitive in the IMCA mod. That kid's a racer. I know a lot of people talk about him, but I was impressed with him. I mean, dirt, asphalt, dune buggies, shopping cart at Walmart. I think he could probably win in anything you put him in, but. So he'll be fun to watch on Saturday. Going to be down in Florida getting ready for that, and then going to fly back in Saturday and do double duty. He's going to try to put the late model and the limited in the show Saturday, coming through some LCQs and what have you. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun. That's a good racetrack. It's fun. It's good atmosphere. We're good solid race fans. Like I say, the
Mhm.
competitors down there are unreal. Like I say, I think they're way underrated when we talk about racing in the region. I think a lot of people don't talk about South Texas like they should because you could probably put their top 5 or 10 guys up with anybody in this region and be pretty competitive.
Absolutely.
So KR, when you, I don't want you to spoil the videos and stuff that you got coming up the next couple of days with the behind the scenes stuff. What, how many hours? Not only have you spent already on this, but how many hours coming up the next couple of days you're going to be working? You talking about 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day coming up next couple of days, maybe? I mean, I don't want to have you think about it and be like, what the hell am I doing this for?
He's
But
going to back out. He's like,
back out last
"Oh,
minute. Ah, man, it's too much trouble.
Yeah, we're hoping we're up to about 19 cents an hour on the payroll when it all shakes loose, hopefully. But no, it's we've been hard and heavy for the last 3 or 4 months. I'd say when we first started, we probably legit 4 or 5 hours a day, just because there's so many phone calls and emails and trying to
Mhm.
coordinate and so many things that involves with all that. Owen's done a phenomenal job of picking up a lot of stuff down there in the local area. But the last couple of weeks, it's been pretty wide open with this. And then, you're talking about the Outlaw 34, and we got a trade show coming up January 4th that I'm involved in and trying to get our 2025 stuff out there. It's just, there's a lot of moving pieces here, but it takes a long time. I spent all day Saturday, putting my trailer, pulling it out and cleaning everything, making sure it was all in there, reorganizing. I mean, that was about a 9-hour day on Saturday, and
Yeah.
phone calls. A lot of people that race apparently work night shift because you'd be amazed how many texts and phone calls and Facebook messages you get between 2 and 5 in the morning. So, guess they're on lunch break or whatever. But if we're up, and a lot of times we are, we try to
It's
answer them.
this,
So,
KR. It's this.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes you can tell when they've been on the Dollar Dos Equis because some of the questions don't always add up. But no, Bobby, I would say this week alone, we've been this week alone will be it'll be an 80, 90 hour week time we get to the last checkered flag on Saturday. It'll be all day tomorrow traveling, and then all day Wednesday, and then Thursday will be a full day because we want to enjoy the pit party with our competitors and get to visit with them and kind of let them know we're humans as well. So and then Friday, Saturday, everything. It's no different than playing sports growing up or whatever. To me, I think it's one thing that attracts me about the promoting thing is you have the build up and then practice night is almost kind of like the pep rally. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then you get up Friday morning and like you feel like you want to put the pads on and go play somewhere. It's like we're competitive from our standpoint as well because we want a quality show. We want things to run well. We want our people to perform the best they can. And there's just a lot of things that go into it. Like I always, for my events, I put notebooks together for myself, and I've got announcer reads for Rodney that I'll hand him, and we just want to make sure that everybody involved is getting their bang for their buck, getting their exposure, and hopefully we're not just building partners for a one-off event. We want to bring them back to the Outlaw. We want to bring them back next year. We want to take them to other venues with us. So it's a lot of time and lot of work, but it's rewarding. I think one of the most rewarding thing is watching people have a good time.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
I don't know if you can put a price tag on that. So, but we do some music stuff, and that's part of it too. It don't always make money, but watching people when a song comes back from the '70s and somebody covers it, and you got an older couple and they look at each other like that was our first dance or what, like that's pretty cool to be a part of. So I'm pretty blessed to be able to do what I do. I hope we can continue to get better at it, and I hope we don't let Owen down this weekend.
Oh man, I know you won't. I mean, Kevin, talk about that part again. Kevin Rogers with us on the Revved Up Sports Show. You've got the South Texas Shootout. It kicks off on Thursday. You've got a free pit party. Then you got qualifying night on Friday. Then we bounce into Saturday, and that's when everything gets Western right there at the corner of old Brownsville Road and Saratoga, as I like to say when I'm up in the booth over there at South Texas. But kind of everything that you're talking about right there, KR. It really is because with just things that have changed in my life lately, I've had this word activation that's been pounded into my head. And it really is so much with this because the racing is going to be the racing. You're going to have that. And I think with the pre-registration and everything that you have here, you're going to have great counts in these classes. But putting all of this together and bringing the fans in there to where they want to come back, and to solicit the sponsors that you have for this, that's really a lot that goes into this to where people just may not understand that part.
Well, and like I say, there's so many moving pieces. I don't think a lot of people, and I don't expect people to understand it, but you know, you got to have somebody lined up to pick up the trash and clean the toilets each night. And there's so many little details that if you miss one of them could be, I wouldn't say catastrophic, but it could mess up the flow because we're like anybody else. My office is a mess, but I've got a schedule. In a perfect world, this schedule is going to happen the way it is. I bet we can throw this schedule away about noon on Wednesday. Something's going to throw a monkey wrench, but I'm glad you talked about kind of getting Western because I want to talk about qualifying on Thursday night at practice with our limited mods, doing something a little different. Like a lot of times you qualify and you get a provisional. You know, fast time gets a little money in a provisional. Well, this year from 8 to 9 o'clock, we'll qualify them. We'll pay the top three. Fast time's going to get 700, second's going to get 300, and third's going to get 200 in the time deal. We're going to bring, after they go through a tech process, we're going to bring the fast time to the front straightaway and ask him or her, do you want to keep the $700 and draw in Friday and race your way through, or do you want the 7th starting spot in the show on Saturday?
Nice.
That spot pays $700, so you're swapping dollars for dollar, but you don't have the wear and tear. And I'm going to encourage them to do it because then they can have the on-demand shirt pit party hangover and get after it again on Friday if they want to, because they don't have to do anything until a qualifier hot laps on Saturday. So I like doing some different stuff. Owen's kind of that guy too. He's a little bit outside the box, or actually Owen's a lot outside the box. And so I wanted to make that qualifying time trials pretty important because, you know, if you're just getting a guaranteed 25th starting spot or whatever, like that's cool. But now we're going to put you in the mix.
Yep.
You're going to top 6 lock in Friday night. If you're fast time, you're starting right behind them inside row 4. And you don't have the wear and tear on your car. So I'm hoping that'll bring some more competitors out to get out there to practice and qualify. Like I say, put a little more emphasis on time trials and making sure they understand what we're trying to do there. So, and then everybody's asking, what are you doing with the 8th starting spot? So when we open the gates on Thursday, we're going to be selling raffle tickets. There'll be $10 a piece, 6 for 50 or 12 for 100. And so here's the catch with that. We're going to draw before the LCQ on Saturday.
Nice.
Whoever number we pull out, say Owen's locked in 5th place on well, that's a horrible. Just say Owen he won his heat race and he's going to start 12th on Saturday night. He wins the raffle. He does not go to the 8th starting spot because he's already in the race. He has to give that spot to someone not in the race.
Oh,
so
wow.
Say Bobby's on the pole of the LCQ. He can be like, Bobby, I'm putting you in the 8th starting spot, bud. You don't even have to run the LCQ. Just a little variation because I think the fans will get on board with this. I think the fans are going to think it's fun. And that's what's cool. The fans can purchase tickets as well. So a random fan
really?
that ticket and say, hey, my favorite driver is John Doe. He's in the LCQ. Not anymore. I'm putting him in that 8th starting spot. So it'll be fun to see how that plays out. And it's a little different. So our 4th row is going to be our fast time provisional if they choose that position, and then a spot will be on a raffle. So bring a few extra bucks. It'd be a little extra insurance if you pull that thing and have a bad night on Friday.
Absolutely. That's kick-ass, man. That is badass.
That is one thing we know, KR. We love the way that you and Owen work together and think outside the box. But in terms of like how does that conversation start? Like when you guys just texting and be like, I got this random ass idea, or hey, this is just, wouldn't this be neat? I mean, how does that out of the box thinking start sometimes between you two?
It usually starts with, "Hey, I got an idea. Hear me out." That's usually how it starts, and
These conversations.
it's usually a pretty wild idea or something that's kind of out there. And time we get done with it, it's 10 times wilder than we originally thought, because he's gonna like, hey, just like we were talking about how we're gonna redraw our top 6 on that qualifying Friday. He's like, there's a gun range over here. I said, perfect. Let's take them and shoot skeet. So the top 6 are going to shoot skeet.
Oh, that's
Not a
awesome.
random redraw. It's a competition. If you want to be on the pole and you get 25 targets or 20, whatever the number is going to be, you better hit more than everybody else. So they're going to compete with that. Again, we want to encourage some of the fans to get out, hang out, come see us. We want fan interaction. We want one thing, and I'll go back to this, Bob, but there's a soapbox that I've been on for a few years, is I think we've lost the fan driver interaction. When I was a kid, man, they high-fived you at the trophy dash, or you couldn't wait till the race is over to get to the pits. And I hear, well, it's because we run too late. And I get all that. However, we got to get better at doing stuff pre-race. We're not running behind schedule pre-race. So, and we want to speed these programs up. But man, when I was a kid and I saw a guy in a fire suit, I might not recognize him at the store, but I knew that fire suit. Had the flames on the leg, and it made me a fan. So I want to humanize these guys a little bit, and I want to get them back in front of these fans a lot more. And that's where kind of the whole skeet competition came from. And we bought a brand new shotgun, so it's all sighted in, ready to go, and whoever wins the competition gets to take a shotgun home as well too. So pretty cool deal. Owen's done some custom engraving pocket knives, so all the top 6 are going to get those, commemorate being in the top 6. So we're trying to get the fan interaction back, but we also want these guys and gals and our competitors to come. I've been using this term for a while, and I call them valued competitors, and I mean that because without the venue, we don't have a show. Without the drivers, we don't have a show. It's just a big circle, and we all got to fill our part in there. And so I just want to make sure they all know we appreciate them and respect the time and the money and the effort that they take to come down here and run these events. And so hopefully some of this stuff will be something that they appreciate. And like I was looking today, we're now over $10,000 in product and certificates that we'll be giving away. And we got some stuff that the vendor sent that every person that enters into the event, both this one and the Outlaw 34, is going to get at least a couple of $100 worth of free gift certificates. So it's kind of cool when a guy, if he uses the product certificates, gets his entry fee back, so it helps kind of grease the wheels a little bit, and hopefully they appreciate that. I built driver packets, so when they come check in, all that stuff that everybody's getting will be in their package ready to go, so they'll get that as soon as they check in. So just trying to turn some good old car racing into some quality family events. I'm a big fan of what the Savannah Bananas are doing. I've been studying them for years now, and you're not going to see me in a yellow suit anytime soon, but I love what they're doing and how they've used social media and how they've made the game of baseball fun again. And I think we can make stock car racing and dirt and asphalt. I think we can make it fun again. I don't think it has to be something when you show up, you're already aggravated. I think you can actually come, have a great time, spend some time with the kids, the family, your buddies, cheering on, booing, whatever you want to do, and just enjoying it and making memories along the way.
Yeah, and that's a whole thing. Kind of lastly, KR, it's one of those things to where it's a double-edged sword right there, because like you talk about, when you're putting on a program, when you're putting on a race, I don't care if it's a race like this, or a weekly show. You've got your customer. You've actually got 2 customers. The customers that are in your back gate and the customers coming in your front gate. And you have to find that balance right there to where it's appealing for both. And I think a lot of that, where racetracks kind of lose track of that, is with the back gate. It's like, look, we appreciate you very much. We understand the time that you're putting in to come entertain these people. And I think that that's something that kind of goes, under the map. But so lastly, let's kind of wrap this up here, KR. I know you guys are just balls to the wall right now. I'll pull it up one more time. Kind of give this, you've got the Thursday. You've got the Thursday that's going to be going on. Obviously, Friday, everything that you talked about. And then Saturday is go time. Loud pedal day. Just kind of break it all down and tell folks how to be a part of this. There we go. Tell folks how to be a part of this. That may have been my problem right there, Kate. Ow, shoot. We may have lost him. I think we did. I think he froze up. Yeah, he did. So we'll pull him off right there. But anyway, Bobby, there it is right there. We've got that pulled up for you right there. It's the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. It will be the South Texas Shootout, topless limited modified. That's a lot of money on the line. Crate late models. I think that's going to really draw some Northerners down. You got the pure stocks. You got the dwarf cars. That's really all you need right there for a full show.
Yeah, no, a full show both nights, so it's going to be a lot of fun with the way that it's going to work out, and the race ranch. If you've never been, it is a bull ring. It's a tight little joint, but it's fast for a little bull ring there in South Texas. So Corpus has so many things to do. It's off season for the hotels, so if you're not staying at the track hotel right there down on the seawall, plenty of really good places to stay. Down there at Corpus for the race weekend. So it's a whole lot of fun. We'll even talk to JC about some of the races back in the day, the TIDA races down there in Corpus.
Yeah, absolutely. We will definitely do that. So all good right there with KR. He just sent me a text. It's all good, my man. I think we got everything we needed right there, and we will definitely continue to push stuff out throughout the week. South Texas Shootout happening in Corpus Christi. Make a weekend out of it. I mean, go out there, enjoy that Holiday Inn right there. It is on the seawall like Bobby talked about, and you can really have a good time there in Corpus Christi. All right, let's go diving in, man, because we are loaded tonight. We're talking dirt track racing right there. A big weekend, and stick around, HMP friends, because we got some news for you coming up here in just a little bit. But super excited to bring on our man. Been trying to get him on here a couple of weeks, but when the man has a super important job, it gets really hard to be able to make things work. I reached out last night. I was kind of looking through schedules, and I said, all right, I'm going to stalk him right now because I think we can get him. And we welcome back into the program. It is our great friend, JC Umscheid. How you doing, brother?
Good. How are y'all guys? How are you guys?
Doing well. JC, let's talk about this past weekend. You were a part of something really, really cool. I have been screaming from the rafters for 10 years that one of the baddest ass short track racers like yourself that you were, is coming right out of Texas, and this dude just keeps winning, and now he's moving on to things and he's winning championships. Kind of talk about the driver you've been working with a little bit over on the short tracks.
You must be talking about Caden.
That's the guy.
Yeah. I don't, man. We got together years ago. Even when he was doing some Bandolero stuff at Houston and then Legends Cars, and then kind of got away from him there for a little bit when I moved out here the first time. And he kept progressing through the ranks. And then his dad called me, I don't know, 6-7 years ago and said, hey, we're going to go to the Derby with Caden, first time in a super late model. I want you to be a part of it. And we went down there and made the race. I don't even know how old he was. He was young, 14 maybe. And we made the race in our first attempt together. I was giving him a hard time at dinner the other night because we were the fastest car in the first 20 laps of that snowball derby. We hit everything. We ran into everybody, knocked the fenders off of it, and didn't finish the race. But he's come a long ways from that day. He has matured a lot. He knows what he wants in a race car. I have to argue with him a lot because of that. I don't think I've ever made one turn good enough for him. But I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of the young man he's become.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So on and off the racetrack, it's neat to watch him interact with. Y'all were talking about fans. Kara was hit on it there with fans and drivers interacting with fans. And if he wants a driver to interact with fans, he needs to get with Caden. and get Caden at one of his races. He goes and talks to all the fans, all the kids after the race. It doesn't matter if we won the race or run 10th. He hangs out and talks to everybody, and that's what you're supposed to do. We're supposed to get this next generation involved in racing, and he's good at it.
Bobby, hang on one second. I want to throw one thing out here, right here, JC, to what you're talking about. So I think it was at COTA this year. I walked up, and there are folks flocking around Caden Honeycutt because, I mean, folks are really realizing how good he is. I came walking up, didn't have a microphone in hand, didn't have anything. And there were all these people, and I'm talking like national people that are in his face. He pushes him aside and he says, I got to go talk to my buddy. Then he comes over, shakes my hand, gives me a hug. I mean, that's the kind of dude that dude is.
Yeah, he's a really good dude.
Yep, absolutely.
So, JC, we were talking about Corpus a minute ago. And I remember the times we used to have going down to TIDA races. Talk about that racing atmosphere in Corpus, because it really hasn't changed over the years, whether it was 20 years ago running TIDA with your dad or, going to be at the South Texas Shootout this weekend. Corpus is a racing town. What do you remember about racing in Corpus, even when you were racing down there?
Chrome Horn. I don't know. There it is. That's I don't know. I loved racing at Corpus. I never won a race at Corpus. Dad won a few. My uncle won a few, but I never. I led 124 of 125 laps at Corpus, and lost it in turn 3 and 4 on the last lap of a Rumco or I guess it was USARA race there. But Chris Davidson ended up winning that one. But I love that racetrack. I grew up racing at Longhorn Speedway, so that's where I learned to drive my first ever car. Dad took me there for a whole off season, and we tested in a Legends car there. And so I love the bull rings. That's good short track racing. We were always fast at Corpus. We were always fast at Longhorn, Wichita Falls, all the quarter mile racetracks, but never got a win at Corpus.
Yeah, that was quite the place right there.
Yeah.
Those walls would jump out and get you for damn sure.
Is it still around? So like when we were at COTA, I went by Longhorn, and it's just a dirt circle anymore, but I'm assuming that's what Corpus Christi's like now.
Bits and pieces. You kind of hook over right there off Agnes and hit Flato, and you'll see it. I mean, there's still some stands. They've kind of started taking it apart. I mean, it was one of those things, JC, to where it's like, okay, they're going to take it apart, and they're taking it apart slowly. I'm like, if you're going to knock it down, just knock the damn thing down.
Do it.
Rip the Band-Aid off, for crying out loud. JC, I would love your opinion. I mean, especially working right here, working with Caden and the team there. Your thoughts on the late model stocks, because there's a lot of conversation in short track racing with the supers. We got the Snowball coming up. You got the Big League 128 that's going to be coming up right there. You've got Outlaws, you got Sportsman, you've got all of these different things. The pro late models still kind of factor in right there. But it really seems to me like those late model stocks are really the ones where, dude, they are the real legit thing. And I think that's really a great class. Really
it is. Class. I don't have much experience with the late model stocks. So what Cade and I won was the pro late.
It was a pro, yeah.
Yeah. So he drives a late model stock for another team based out of up here in North Carolina. I do have a radio on, and I do listen to him because that does help me be able to work on our car, seeing how the track's going and that type of deal during their race. But I don't really get to work on those much. They're a truck arm car, kind of like what I'm used to in the truck series, and most of them are big spring cars, little different engine package than what we're used to, little different car. But that the Cars Tour as a whole right now, whether it's the late model stocks or the pro late models, it's some really tough racing. A bunch of good teams are involved. They're doing an excellent job on getting their name out there and getting their series noticed. And I think it's only going to get better with the next year to come, couple years to come, with the ownership group that they have and what they're putting into it. They're a professional group. So it's cool to be a part of that, because you can go to a sponsor and get them to be a part of it, and they see their return, right? They get their name out there, like we had Lee Boy on the car at North Wilkesboro, first time sponsor for the team and for Caden, and they're already wanting to do more. I mean, it doesn't help. It helps when you go win, but the exposure that we would still got prior to winning the race, based on all the media and all the stuff that they do, is awesome.
Dude, what's it like racing at North Wilkesboro? Because I know I got to see it in the horrible state that it was in before they spent the millions of dollars redoing it. That place still has to have a, you know, you're an old school race guy, like you love historic tracks and all that. But like, how cool is it racing back at North Wilkesboro? Does it have that old school feel right when you walk through the door with the modern stuff?
They left a lot of the history there. While the asphalt is new, they did when they repaved it, they went through and they left the bumps and the high spots and the low spots in the racetrack. They left the character there. They just put new asphalt on top of it. They didn't go back and smooth it and do all that. So it still has the character. Both ends of the racetrack race completely different from one another. You run uphill on one end and downhill on the next straightaway. It's North Wilkesboro still. The elevator is the same elevator that guys rode back in the day that we got to ride. That's a pretty badass experience. The fans are, I mean, they pack the stands even just for our late model race. It's pretty awesome what they've done with the place.
Yeah, that's how you support a track that comes back. I mean, you show up and just keep doing it, because you know as well as anyone, one time is great and then nobody comes. So anyway, when you talked about the Pro Late Model Championship, talk about the Bryson Lopez racing team, because that's a team that's really come together. This Pro Late Model Championship, I think, only enhances everything. That's a team. I mean, that's a homegrown race team. Kind of talk about how all that has worked out.
Yeah, it's a team. They're based out of Atlanta or near Atlanta. And I'll tell you, Caden and I got really lucky being able to be a part of their team. We started the year off with another team in another car, and things weren't going the way we thought they should go, or Caden thought they should go. And he was ready to make a change. And he got a phone call and said, "You need to call these guys." And he did. And it worked out to where we went to Ace Speedway. And I think we were in the top 3 in all the practice sessions the first time out with them. We led a lot of the laps. We ended up burning up a right front brake caliper with like 5 or 6 laps to go, and Caden Cavapel passed us for the win, but we run second. We haven't finished outside the top 6, I think, since we started racing for Bryson Lopez. They prepare all the cars. I had to tell Ernie, the owner of this, Ernie, at the banquet Saturday night, he was telling me how good of a job I've done and patting me on the back. And I said, "Ernie, I haven't come to y'all's race shop. You guys prepare these race cars. I might give some setup advice and I might tune the car at the racetrack, but y'all do the work in the shop. Y'all bring prepared race cars to the racetrack. It makes my job easy. Makes Caden's job really easy. We don't have to worry about, was the maintenance done? Was this or that done? If they said it's done, it's done." And we take a very nice racetrack.
It's awesome.
Hey, let's talk about the truck series for a minute. Talk about competitive series, man. That every once in a while it gets a little spread out in there, but that truck series, man, it's a hell of a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the truck series here in 2024. Talk about that deal a little bit with that program you've got over there.
Yeah, so I'm still car chief at Tricon Garage on the one truck. So we have a rotating roster. Our roster hasn't been announced for 2025 yet, but we have multiple drivers run our stuff this year, and it's going to be the same thing for next year. So we're part of a 5-truck organization. I feel like take some of the 5 nicest vehicles to the racetrack every week, as far as craftsmanship, and definitely they all have speed. And it's fun to go race against Caden, being at a company, and race against guys that I help or have helped, even Bailey and some other kids in the series I've worked for before. And so it's fun to go compete against them.
Yeah.
That level.
So JC, kind of your thoughts, because you're, like we've talked about, I mean, you're a short track guy. I mean, you know, kind of the way that we all short trackers kind of think about things, and being in in the upper echelon of NASCAR series, when people want to complain about point systems and want to talk about chases or bring back the chase and do all these different things, kind of, how do you block that out? Because it's like, man, that gets so loud. It seems like when Joey wins this championship, it's like change everything. It never stops.
I honestly, I didn't even pay attention to the Cup Series, championship 4. I had no clue who won it, until I saw it on social media. But the short tracker and the competitor in me, I don't care about points of fall where they fall. I want to win every. I want to go run in the top 3 in every race for sure, right? And you go do that, you're gonna win races, and I guess you put yourself in that position to be in the top 4 for going into Phoenix, then you have to go win that race usually, right? I think everybody but the 7 car in Xfinity, the race winner was your champion, right? But if you go win the race like you're supposed to every week, you're going to be the champion. That's just how it works.
Yeah, agree.
So
I got one last thing for you, because we've talked to Memphis Viriel about moving from Texas all the way to North Carolina. You've been living there a long time.
Mhm.
It's such a different mentality over there. Like when it comes to racing, like Rodney and I talk about all the time. Like if we could pick up the show routes, we love Texas, but if we could move our show to North Carolina, we probably would.
yeah,
But like over there, it's so second nature, because it's on every newscast. Every sportscast has something with NASCAR. You've got Dell Jr. mayonnaise bottles over there. You see the cardboard cutouts at every Food Lion and Piggly Wiggly and all of that. Talk about that transition for you when you first moved over there. Like it's got to be, it's kind of got to be a culture shock to a certain extent, because you're like, man, I love it, but now I'm right smack ass in the middle of it. What was it like for you when you moved over there?
Well, early on when I first moved over, I told my dad, I was like, man, it's a shame we spent this much on shipping parts back and forth across the country all the time.
Right.
I could drive down the street and get what I want. Like we didn't have that, right? We had to next day air it usually if we wanted it in a timely manner. But no, it is different. There's a lot of technology here. There's a lot of information to be had, and I kind of wish I would have done it sooner. Just because of that, right? Getting into that knowledge and earlier in my life. So it's like everywhere you turn, there's another race car, another type of race car, or another part or something like that you can get and utilize, right? So it is different than what we had back home.
Yeah. Yes. We had to go to Max. We had to go to Special Automotive. Yeah. Quite a bit. There's Special Automotive on every block over there. I would think. So JC, lastly for me, your advice, and again, you kind of mentioned there about next year for you, you'll still be in that same capacity, and that'll all shake itself out. But kind of your advice, because there's so many people that watch this. There's a lot of youngsters that are like you talked about. You wish you would have done it earlier. Your best advice to some of these youngsters that want to go out and chase that dream. I mean, it's a leap of faith. It's it's scary. I totally understand that. But kind of your thoughts. What would you tell a young JC Umscheid that really wants to go chase that dream, but just really doesn't know or can't make themselves do it?
Yeah. So I don't know if y'all have had Chase Havley on, or you know Chase.
Oh yeah, we raced in the dwarfs together. Yeah.
So Chase moved out here a couple years ago, and I got him connected with some people that I knew. He was still going to school, engineering school. Chase is now working at Trackhouse as an engineer, and has a lot of good opportunities ahead of him this year. I can't tell you what they are, and I can't. I'll let him, if you talk to him, I'll let him tell you what his future looks like. But like I told Chase, go in there and don't get outworked. Go work hard. You can do it. Just go work hard. Don't get outworked. Don't let the next guy outwork you. And that's what the younger generation, a lot of them lack, right? They don't work as hard as what we used to have to do. They kind of get lax. They kind of get lazy. The next guy's going to do it kind of attitude, right? don't let that happen. You go do it and show them that you can do it. And I'm telling you that the kid's got a good future ahead of him because of that.
That kid was always so smart. And it was one of those things to where he was so intelligent, because like Chase, when he was racing with us in DCRST, I mean, it was all of us old dudes. I mean, it was Arden and Butch and the young brothers and me. And here's this dude. And he, you know, we're sitting over there, you know, just talking shit like you always do. And this guy just would like run in the front all the time. It's like, man, he's just very intelligent, and really good to see him doing really amazing things.
Yeah. You need to get him on your show.
I will. I will definitely. I will definitely do that. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. I'm just happy that I'm just happy we get to see a friendly face.
Yeah, look at that.
You know, long time. I've known JC a long time, so we've been in this business about 40 years or so.
Yeah, there was a chance. So I haven't made laps since.
That's what I was going to ask. Are you going to drive again, my man?
Well, I think it was 2020 when they had a 5,000 to win truck race at Houston. I think it came 2020 or 2021. I came back for that.
I remember. Yep.
Prior to that, I ran Raymond Delahousie asked me to come run his modified one last time, and I did that. And we ran good. I think that was 2009. But there was a chance that I was going to run a truck at the Derby this year, but I don't think that's going to happen. I have too much work going on, and I don't think the truck's going to get done. But if they have a big race at Houston next year and I have an off weekend, the plan is to come back and run a truck at Houston.
Nice.
So
nice. Well, stick around. Hang a few more minutes after we're done. How hard is that part for you? Because we talk to a lot of guys to where it's like they're just amazing dudes behind the wheel, like you are, and it's like, but you've got these other things to do. We talk to the dirt guys here in Texas. It's like, man, I want to race, but I got to take care of all these customers. I mean, how hard is that part for you? Where it's like, God, I want to drive, but I got to do my work.
Well, like helping Kate here and working for him. As long as he'll listen to me and we go win races, that's just as good.
That's what I'm saying.
So, yeah.
Yep. Good stuff.
As long as I can be a part of that,
Yes,
and know that I had a hand in it, that's just as good for me.
Absolutely. JC, my man, congratulations on all the success, making us proud back here, doing those really great things. When you see Caden, when you talk to Caden, give him a big old slap in the ass from us, because he done good.
We're going to go back down to Pensacola Thursday night and test Friday and Saturday. So I'll see him there for sure.
Absolutely. Sounds good, man. Good luck at the Derby. You guys go kick some ass again.
Thank you.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
You bet. There he goes. JC Umscheid. That, man, really, really cool. You know, where it's like when the folks want to talk about where Texas has kind of cooled off or whatever when it comes to pavement racing, it's when we get those dudes in there where it's like, yeah, we may have cooled off a little bit, but our guys are doing really good things. And JC, they're with the truck series like he talked about, and with Caden. I mean, Caden is the guy that I think is really going to do some special things, I think, here very, very soon.
I mean, he's by far leaps and bounds the next big thing, right? Yeah. He's that 20-year overnight sensation, right? Everybody forgets that he raced forever, you know, and moving up the world. Hell, JC ran one of Kirby's cars in an ASA late model race in San Antonio one time. So that's how far back that relationship goes with the Honeycutts with JC. So that's you know, that's a cool deal to see somebody with the knowledge and see a homegrown talent make it over in the Cup Series, because you don't always have to be everybody wants to be the race car driver, right? Everybody wants to get all the accolades and everything else, but it's nice to know when you show up at a racetrack, people know who you are and know that you're going to kick ass when any position that you're at, whether that be the car chief, the crew chief, the engineer, whatever the case may be. If you're associated with a winning team, that's what means the most when you show up at the racetrack and everybody's like, yep, they're the ones to beat this week. So
yeah,
that's a cool feeling in its own right?
And that's the other thing that I think about when we talk to all these guys that have come out of Texas, because when it comes to the questions about Texas pavement racing, it's like, I mean, there have been many conversations that I've had with people, Bobby, where it's like, you know, when I start naming off names, I mean, when I talk about JC and I talk about all the different people that have made their way out of Texas, and maybe they're not behind the wheel. I mean, maybe they're not, but they contribute. And just think about that. When you've got an Umscheid, when you've got JC Umscheid that learned from this group of people that we have talked to so many different times on this program over the years, when you got a dude like that is in one of these upper echelon series, you absolutely know that he's going to be good and pass that on. And when he takes in a dude like Caden Honeycutt, and I don't think that we mentioned Bailey enough on the program, because that's another guy to where it's like Bailey Curry is just a natural talent that does really, really good things. And he's in a good situation. You need a lot of parts and pieces to come together. And I think we all understand the way that NASCAR racing works, to where it's like, yeah, you can drive for whoever, but there's a lot of it that has to work out. And it's that relationship part, like JC was talking about with Honeycutt. It's like you put those two together and boom, it works. It's a great combination.
It really is. And I think, when you have the old school mentality like JC's got, with all the new technology that he has access to, that is a lethal combination. And obviously it showed, right? Obviously, you got the good, like he said, I make setup changes and stuff, but when you have the right setup and the right team, like putting cars together, and like Kevin Harvick should quote this and put this on a shirt: you can't make slow cars go fast.
Yep.
And so the fact they've been able to kind of put their stamp on it, coming in and being as competitive as they were right out of the box, and winning that championship and winning the race at North Wilkesboro, that was pretty cool. Yeah. Like I said, Caden's been on the show multiple times. Me and you've been texting back and forth trying to get him on, but he's always busy doing something racing related. So he's a lot of fun. He's a hell of a good guy. And well, both of them are, JC and Caden, both of them. It's a good combination to see. They're going to do great things.
Yeah,
Continue to do great things.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing when you think about. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's that relationship building right there that they talked about, like JC was talking about. I think one of the coolest things that he said right there was where at the first part of the season, when Caden had a ride, and it was like, something just isn't right here, and then they find, with the Lopez team, to where it's like, maybe it's not, you insert the name right there, but that team put themselves together and they put the right people in place. And it's relationships, it's team building, it's believing in each other. It's JC talking to him and coaching him through things that are really going to make this run epic. And I think that the sky's the limit right now for Caden Honeycutt. Before we talk about Houston racing, because I think there's a lot of people that are on here waiting for that. Before we do that, we talked about the South Texas Race Ranch coming up this weekend. With the South Texas Shootout. There's only one way if you're going to be in the grandstands there and you want to really dig in there to know what's going on. I mean, you can listen to the PA guy, you can listen to try to figure out what's going on. But I mean, a lot of times when the race is happening, you can't hear whoever's up there. The one way to do that is with My Race Pass. Here is how you can download My Race Pass today and be right in the middle of the racing action.
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the ultimate racing resource.
Absolutely. That really is a cool thing right there, because you can follow along. And the whole thing is you can pull driver stats. I mean, you can pull just everything that you want from a particular racetrack or what's been going on right there, point standings, all these different things. And you can follow along throughout the night as you were going along. If you're heading out to the race ranch this weekend, download that thing and get it right there. It's right at the tip of your fingers. All right, so let's jump in here, because we've been talking about, we kind of been teasing around a little bit with the Houston stuff, and obviously Houston with another great year. I mean, this is really, I think, Bobby, I'll get your opinion on this before we dive into it. I think that the one thing that people want to see out of Houston, and I know people want to see this, but they don't react to it well enough, is consistency. And it really seems like right now, look, there have been a lot of great people that have dove in and operated the place there with the Bakers. But right now, it really seems like I think this year, getting your races in, getting everything done without any major. I know you had the legacy thing with the engines and all of this different shit, but the fact that you're constantly knocking off year after year after year, that to me tells me you're on the right path.
Well, you're not going to. I mean, obviously, racing's a unique business where sometimes you can lose money and still decide that you want to keep doing it, and sometimes that's the case with different promotions throughout the year. But yeah, you're right. This is year 2 coming up, or that just finished up. Year 3 that just finished up here at the Palace of Power over there at the HUP Oval. So, the stability's there, the track team is there, and it's just it's still surprising why you're still missing some drivers over there, but we've had that discussion more in the past. Not a reason to get on that soapbox again tonight, but it's it's cool. Like you said, it's the last one we got. Hell, it's the only one we got. We need to try to learn how to support it over there. So,
yeah, that's the other part of this to where it does really get frustrating from time to time because it was. I know that for a lot of years what it was is we want to have all the dates. I mean, we want to have whatever the case is right there. And I mean the dates are tough. I mean, because I think like we've talked about so many different times, what folks don't realize is that facility operates as a drag racing. I mean, they've got a lot to do. I mean, there's a lot. It makes it hard because, for example, the last race that was contested there on the asphalt track in November, first part of November. I was talking to my man upstairs up there, the man that guards the gate. And we were kind of going back and forth. He's like, man, we got to get this place cleaned up tonight because we've got grudge races coming in. We've got all of these different things that are happening right there. The dates are at a premium. And I know that that's come up so many different times, but when it successfully operates as a drag racing facility and is paying the bills, I mean that's where it gets hard because those dates are very kind of like gold. You know what I mean? It's you got to figure out a way to make those work.
I mean, we're selfish a little bit, right? But years ago when it was hot and heavy on the oval track, it was an oval facility that had a drag strip.
Yep.
Now it's a drag strip facility that has an oval track. Is the way to look at it now. So that's what you said. Dates are at a premium, and trying to squeeze in some dates because it's a very successful drag strip. It might be an eighth of a mile, but hell, it's the only drag strip left in Greater Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So if the guys want to come out and showcase what they got, even for an eighth of a mile at a time, that's the place to do it. So it's wide bodies, short bodies, Mustang nights. If you keep up with the Houston Motorsports Park page, they've always got something going on. Even if there's a race weekend in there on a Saturday night at the Oval, they got racing on Friday night. They get racing on Sunday night. So there's all kind of stuff happening at Houston Motorsports Park. Yep. We're just lucky enough to have the Oval there with the ability to race there.
So let's go diving in right here. We're bringing on, and this is going to be via phone because he's got, as always, has stuff going on. We're going to check in with our man, Owen Pittman. Owen, how you doing, brother? All right. Okay. Well, stand by. We'll work on that connection right there. I thought we had him on the chat line. He's got some stuff going on there. So just hang on 1 second. Going to do a little bit of finagling here on the backside, and we will have our conversation here with Owen as this continues to work. And of course, the Revved Up phone line is doing an update as we do this because I don't ever try it. So let's try it one more time. Owen, you got us, my man. All right.
Did you undo the mute button? That was always the problem last time.
Yeah, no, that's all done. So just stand by 1 second right here, and we will go to Plan B to get all of this set up because this is how we roll on this program. Because stand by because this is very important. So we are going to dive in with this. So I think as all of you are figuring out here that this is going to be a very positive conversation, that we're not going to be getting in here giving you bad news. So as we work on the fly right here, and again, here's another example of why we do this program live, because it just kind of makes it a little more challenging sometimes from time to time.
You can't fake live technical issues when you record a show.
Oh, this ain't a technical issue, my man. This is just a little blip in the program to where we're starting to put things together. And now we go to the Revved Up hotline presented by On Demand Shirts, because On Demand Shirts will be presenting the South Texas Shootouts. It's going to be coming up this weekend at the South Texas Race Ranch. We've talked about the Shootout, but now we're going to talk about Houston. It is our man, Owen Pittman. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. How are y'all?
Man,
y'all can hear me finally?
See, don't you love how a plan comes together? It's like,
Love it.
Netflix ain't got shit on us, Owen. We've been doing this for so long. We figure out ways to make this work.
Oh yeah.
That's
I'm at a screen rental with the Cowboys game, and right as CeeDee Lamb caught the ball, it buffered like Netflix, and they all look at me like, "What the hell, dude?" It was rough.
They're gonna be wanting.
We're rolling though. We're rolling. So just open up more buffers, man. That Starlink's doing his job.
Gonna be wanting a refund, my man. No, that's all right. Don't worry. You're doing a Cowboy game, so I'm thinking that it's gonna be sad anyway. All right, Owen. So first, let's get your thoughts on the race ranch. That's coming up. We were talking to KR. This is going to be a massive race, dude. There's lots that's going into this, and Corpus is always a great home for people to come racing. I think that you guys, weather's going to be fantastic. I think this one's going to be a smash grand slam home run, my man.
Yeah, it's hard to say at this point, but I tell you what, the effort that's been put in is unbelievable. KR is definitely best promoter I've ever had to work with. This guy gets it done, and he does a great job. And me and him bounce so many ideas off each other and talk about them. And, you look at all the fan interaction with the bingo deal. You look at the, shooting shotguns for lineups. We're doing so many things. And then it's going to be cool. What fans don't realize or racers don't realize is like Thursday and Friday, I'll have that big screen in the pits on the tech pad, and they'll all get to watch what's going on out there on the track via the big screen in there. And then Saturday night we'll move it out in front of the crowd. And man, I tell you what, so it gives us a lot of opportunities to thank our partners. And man, we got a lot of partners on these two races with folks coming out of the woodworks from Smiley's and Day and Landrum Springs and CRS. I mean, just the list goes on and on of great people that put in a lot to our event, and we can't thank them enough. And I tell you, KR just killed it, man. That guy works nonstop. So super stoked to be working with KR and KR doing his deal here in Corpus. And I tell you, this race, what I see is a lot of fun. I'm at a point where I don't care if it wins, lose, or draw. What I care about is everybody has a damn good time when they come here. And I really feel like we're there.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's always been a lot of fun, the Western event, getting a Western down there. But talk about the topless thing. We've been seeing a couple of people trying to be naysayers about the topless part of the limited modifieds. You love doing the topless thing down there. Y'all been doing it that way for a couple of years now.
Yeah, we like the topless deal, and the topless deal happens all over the country. You got to think about it. Topless late models at Batesville is one of the biggest races in the country. So topless is not a big deal. If there's naysayers, that's just because they don't want to buy rivets, I guess. But I tell you what, the topless deal gives the crowd an opportunity to see something totally different. They see the driver in there. You can see their hands moving and their head moving. And it provides a totally different look than what we're used to. So we do have E-mods that are already topless.
Yep.
But this one, there's no E-mods at this one. This is a limited race. So, the way we broke these two events up with different classes, and the next one's a bigger stock car style race. This one's a bigger modified, open wheel type race. So pretty excited for both of them and how it works out. But yeah, I don't know, Bobby. I like the topless. I think it's a cool feature that it's not something you see every year. And you got some drivers that absolutely love it and some that hate it. That's just the way it is. And, you just keep moving on, and hopefully they'll pull them off and come on down.
Yeah. I had a guy that messaged me today, as a matter of fact, Owen. He's like, so what's this topless thing going on in Corpus? I said, well, it's two things. I said, you get to see the limited modifieds without the roof on. They're going to take them off. I said, and if that's not enough, you can go down Leopard Street and you can see topless over there too. So it's kind of the bang for the buck. So I've been told.
Yeah, exactly. We do have a stripper pole in the bar, but there won't be any topless in there other than some old men, maybe.
You and me. You, me, and KR. Yeah,
Hey, whatever it takes to bring the fans in, baby.
there's a menage a trois right there. You, KR, and put a poster out, my man. Put a poster out. Owen, right quick before we get to the pavement part, late models. I think that late models in this as well. I think it's a great time with a good purse and great promotion to be able to get some of those Northerners, man. Come on down. It's an open weekend. Come race some late models in Corpus.
Yeah, excited. I love the late models. They're a big piece. The screen just locked up buffering here or something, so I'm like in a panic.
You're only on audio. That's your that's
you know, my big screen attached to the truck behind me with a whole group of people wondering what the hell's going on. Sorry. Yeah, the late models are a big deal. So, you know, I've been running the American Crate Late Model Southern region for a while and whatnot. So it's important to have the late models doing a showing here and paying them well to come down. And I hope we get a good crowd. You know, it's only an 18 to 20 crowd. You know, 18 to 20 cars is the norm in this deal. It's not like, you know, the nice part when you're paying thousands and thousands to win is your goal is to have a lot of cars to help with that. But the late models ain't going to bring that, but they're going to bring the show. They're going to bring what the crowd really enjoys. And the crowd down here don't get it enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, the late models will put on a show for sure down at the race ranch. So as we transition over from dirt back to pavement again, obviously we've been teasing the big time news or big time story breaking for H&P. So what do you got for us for the H&P Oval? What kind of news you got for that? You got anything important to talk about on that deal?
H&P Oval, man, we're going to talk about the schedule here in a minute, aren't we? I mean, that's the plan.
Right. Damn right. No. H&P is closed. No, we're just kidding. That was. I always frame these things. You like what I do, Owen? It's like it's good, this whole dramatic thing to get people to watch, and it's like, yeah, okay. You know, I watch a lot of soap operas, so let's talk about that part first. Talk about the season. A lot of challenges. We lost some people along the way. It's like y'all need to come back. But the whole thing is, I think the bottom line is, Owen, it perseveres. It's happening again.
Yeah, I'll be honest with y'all. I'm totally confused in the asphalt world. So I feel like there's a lot of people that want to see asphalt racing succeed and be around. And then I see all kinds of cars that are dragging the snowball or dragging the Five Flags and they don't come race with us. And I'm like, well, how do y'all expect to survive if you don't want to come race, right? So I enjoyed our season. I'm 100% in tune with HMP and the asphalt racing. I enjoy the hell out of it, be honest with y'all. So it's just something totally different to me. And of course I grew up on CC Speedway. So to go up there and run asphalt, and that's, man, I'm stoked every time. I love it. And you know, KR came for the first time the last race, first time been to asphalt in 30 years, and he wasn't 100% sure about it still, but he enjoyed it. He said it was fun. The fan interaction was great, and the fans were good, you know. So I don't know. I wish drivers would get more behind it than they are. There are some and some great people involved that help out a lot, but there's a lot of drivers that could really step up and say, hey, we're going to come support this deal because it's here in Texas and what we want. Unfortunately, there's man, we lost some really great racing families over the last 2 years that all of a sudden don't show up no more. And I don't understand why. But I see them going to the Snowball Derby. You know, I'm going to travel 2,000 miles or whatever it is, 1,000 miles, but I'm not going to race right here in Texas. It makes no sense to me, but y'all know how it goes.
And Owen, it's kind of always been one of those things for me. Sorry, Bobby, because I'll forget. It's always been one of those things for me to where, like, to go run the Derby, to go run the Rattler, to go run the All-American 400. I mean, all of these different races. That's when budgeting and all that's a lot. That is a lot that you are saving to go do that when you have something right here in your backyard. And let's be pretty candid right here. Your chances of doing well are much better to go race in Houston than going to race the damn Derby. You might not even make the race, you know, when you go to the Derby. I mean, you've kind of got something right here that it's waiting for you to come enjoy it. That's my thought.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you think about what it costs to go to the Derby. I mean, period, all the way around. And it's the amount of tires you need, the amount of everything is like super tough versus you could race here on a regular basis. and it'd be fine. Yeah, I don't get it, honestly, Rodney. So
Yeah.
I struggle with that, but I'm not backing down. We're not quitting. We're moving forward on a constant basis.
Yep, absolutely. Owen, so let's dive in. I mean, here we go. Last year, it was one of those things to where people wanted all these dates. They got all the dates. I will say the crowd, great. I mean, the spectator racing and all that, I think really helped. Legacies, legends, all that, the little cars that we like to call them, they really magnified that program. But let's talk about what's coming up in 2025. I got to tell you, I like these dates a lot.
Yeah, you know, I got hit up to try to work with, and if I get loud, I apologize.
all
I'm
right.
out here trying to work on the screen while I'm trying to do this.
Oh, shit.
So I got a lot going on here, guys. But
Yeah.
so I got hit up by some folks from Mobile, you know, about, hey, can we work together, blah, blah, blah. And man, I like that model, and I'm willing to work with anybody. I really want racetracks to work together. It just adds a level of professionalism when we could all work together and make racing better. But we don't have that option in Houston. Dean's number one thing is that drag strip, and I respect that because that's his money. You got to make money, and we go to work every day, every one of us, to make money. Well, Dean makes money at that drag strip. He don't make nearly the money at that circle track. So we're at a situation where whatever dates he gives us, we're damn proud to have, and we're going to make them work, and we're going to do a good job. We're going to bust our ass. Me, Mike Meekum, Rodney, you know, all of us are going to bust our ass to make sure that we put on an excellent show on the round track, and hopefully that Dean sees it and wants us back, which he does. He loves us. He's super happy with the product we bring to his facility. So can't say enough about, you know, hey, the dates are the dates. I can't change them. I can't do a whole lot with them. I'm proud to have them at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because and looking at the schedule, it looks like, you know, once a month is going to work. I mean, there's not an excuse for, oh, well, you know, we didn't have enough time to get our car back together, or, oh, it's sitting in pieces because we didn't know when we were going to race. It's once a month, and it's pretty self-explanatory the way the schedule is going to work. I mean, you know, it's like y'all said, it's a hell of a lot easier to run in Houston than go to the Derby and go to Five Flags once a month. So it's easier just try to stay at home and make your program better before you leave to go out of state to try to run.
Yeah, you know, that opportunity's there, Bobby. That's what we need him to do. The one thing when I worked on scheduling with Dean, that we did 12 dates this year, and you know, his comment to me was he felt like it got watered down, less car count. We struggled, so we went to a few less dates this year. So that's on the racers. If you want to race more, then you need to show up more. It wasn't on me. I definitely wanted more dates. You know, I wanted at least 12 to 15 dates, and he came back and was, you know, and just Dean's a real guy, man. He sees the numbers, he sees everything, and he sees, well, it kind of died on us there, right, throughout the season. So we don't want to do that again. Maybe it's too watered down. We'll do less dates, and maybe they'll all show up for those dates. So when a racer's got to question it and, you know, wonder about it, that's what's happening there. So it's not about Dean not wanting to race or us not wanting to race. It's about the racers need to support the race, right? So that's an important piece that guys need to understand.
Yeah, it's the bottom line. I mean, because that's where everything is different to where that like we were talking about. Oh, and that place is a fully functioning business. that this is a byproduct, you know, that we get to have oval track racing there. The other question, I'll kind of just throw this out there, and again, this will all be, you know, it'll shake itself out as we get deeper into or, you know, closer to 2025. I think the next question is going to be, you know, with classes. I'm not the biggest fan of racing 9 to 10 classes a night. I've seen that so many different times. I think there was some folks this year to where maybe classes were left off the schedule. But look, that comes back to what you're talking about when you're getting 4 or 5 cars a night. I mean, you and the purses were never cut there at all. Kind of talk about that part to how that may be a very fluid thing to who races and who doesn't race on the 2025 schedule.
Yeah, so it's important to understand that the classes that do race are the classes that support us. Obviously, Legacy, which I'm going to be honest, and I'm sure there's some Legacy people listening.
I'm right there with you, man.
I beat my head on the wall of the Legacies this year. Literally, they cost me multiple people that work for me. Their complaints and constant unhappiness with things really drove a negativity into the whole deal. It really did. It hurt us. But they're the largest class we have, so we sure want them there, and the Legends has grown unbelievable, right? But trucks and mods and some of those classes, they weren't happy to get cut, but if you can't bring numbers, then why do we have you at all? That's what you would find at a dirt track or somewhere else that's a functioning business, like you say. If you owned a grocery store and you only sold a product once a year that didn't sell all year long, but maybe one or two times, well, why would you keep the product, right? So the bottom line, it's a business. You look at what's bringing it, and then the top two classes, mainly mods and trucks, their top five trucks or mods, they cost me like $2,700 or something. And you look at that and go, holy crap, that's more than you pay an IMCA mod class on a Saturday night for a 20 car field. And you go in most of Texas. So you kind of got to step back and go, man, I can't keep paying 5 cars the amount that I would pay a whole full field of cars in another class on a dirt track or somewhere else. So at the end of the day, I've always been a believer that the ones that should be paid the most are the ones that bring the most. Maybe we should be paying $1,000 to the Legacies and $150 to the mods. I don't know. But point is, you want to support those that support you, right? So that's really where we try to do.
Absolutely.
I know I looked at buying an eco stock, but I got overruled by a couple of different people. So maybe I'll look into the Crown Vic class if you have that class back next year. But I think that we all appreciate the transparency and the honesty in terms of the dollars and cents part of it, to where you have to have the support from the class to have it back. And I think that somehow, I don't know what the deal is, why that gets lost in translation with racers. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but I just don't understand why some racers, after all this stuff, after all the different racetracks opening and closing and may not open back again, the racers just don't understand sometimes the common sense aspect of it. And we're not trying to talk bad about the racers, but I just think that sometimes just the most simple concepts sometimes get lost in the head of some people.
Yeah, I agree. And it's nothing against no racers, but like I said earlier, it's really frustrating to see a guy who's traveling all the way to go race in Florida, but hasn't raced one time in Texas, and we have a class for his car. I see that way more than y'all know. So it's pretty frustrating. It is a product, right? We're trying to put on something good, and some of these classes they want to run, they're gonna have to figure out how to sponsor and bring in some sponsors to help the class to make sure it's there every week. We want to look a little different, I do, and talking to Mike and others that I'd like to get bandoleros going, and here you go with, I agree with Rodney, 8 or 9, 10 classes, but we don't really want that. But we also want the kids, we want the lower classes to be right there going at it, so we want to keep growing the sport.
Yeah. Owen, and I think that's a great point. We'll cut you loose. I know you got stuff going on as the Cowboys. Oh, they may score.
They might.
They did. How about that shit?
They did? I didn't know.
They did. Hope it's not buffering. The other part of that, kind of lastly, I think that that last race night there, having the kiddos out with the quarter midgets, and I'll be full transparency on that. I think that I was like, come on, whatever. That pretty big deal right there. I think that was, the folks love that, seeing those kiddos out there.
Yeah, that was a pretty neat deal.
Wasn't it cool?
I'm excited to have them guys
back. That was
back.
Badass, man. I got to say.
Yeah, I'm excited to have them back. I'm doing their trophies for their banquet to help them out. They asked for, and but no, I'm pretty stoked. That was one of the coolest deals. And they want more, so I might do 1 or 2 next year with them to try to help that out.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty neat, and the kids were so pumped up, and I bet we see I bet we see 3 times as many kids show up next time. You know what I mean? Like now they realize, oh shit, this was great stuff. Let's go do that.
Yeah.
I wish we'd had them on the other end down there where all the rubber's laid down and the tracks, the infield's a little smoother, but we'll make that happen next time. We saw a lot of spinning out little quarter midgets because of the track was a little rough there, but it was fun. We had a great announcer, right? That guy, that little kid that helped you out was cool. He's a feature of the sport too. So
and he didn't help me out.
Stoked.
He took over. I think
he did a good job. Everybody loved it, man. It was so cool.
I love when you handed him that microphone and you're like wanting to give him instructions. He like turns it on and walks off. Owen looks at me and he's like, I don't think he needs my help.
Yeah, he don't need my shit. Just go. He's like, I'm out of here. Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, he's great.
But no, it was good stuff. So the quarter midgets, that's another piece. All right, so just keep growing the asphalt in Houston deal is fine, and we need to keep it headed in the right direction. Who knows where factory stocks goes? It really hasn't taken off at all. We've had a few try it, but it really hasn't done what I would have hoped it would do. That's really where I like to see things in a more stock car style racing. I love it. So I really wanted that class to be kind of a good class. We paid a lot of money for 6 cars. You think about it, $800 to win with 6 cars. Go to a dirt track and tell them you're going to pay them $800 for 6 cars. They're going to tell you no way.
Yeah.
Some tracks only pay $300 or $400 in factory stock, for 20 cars.
Yeah. So
we paid and we've done our effort and we've done our diligence trying to make this thing grow, and we'll see. But I don't know. I think Houston's awesome. I enjoy it, and I don't want to give it up, and I'm not going to give it up, and we're going to keep working. And I think Dean's on board with doing everything he can do to help us, keep growing it. We went back and forth on some dates. On the dates, I'm assuming you've shown the dates, Rodney.
We got them pulled up. Yeah.
Good. And I wanted a few more. He wanted a few less. We settled on what we got, and I can't be unhappy with it. I'm happy that he's willing to do this, and it's important too for us from a marketing standpoint. It's hard to round up a bunch of sponsors and do all the right things you need to do to grow your business when you ain't got many dates, right? So there's another piece to it too, right? So and excited. We're going to start that truck race off with a double feature, right? 1,000 to win the one feature, and then off of the qualified trucks that rained out the last time, and then we're going to run another one. So it's going to be good.
And I think the other part of that is with the schedule like this, it really does make it more of an event. I mean, it's once a month. Folks can come out. They're going to be all jazzed up and, whatever. I think it's a really good thing. I think the main thing folks need to think about, Bobby and Owen, is pavement lives another year, for crying out loud. I mean, I think that's the most important thing in Texas.
Oh, everybody's cheering. Did the Cowboys score?
The Cowboys scored. Turpin into the end zone for a Dallas score. So
no shit. His ass is on my bench in fantasy football. He's already got 20 points in the first quarter.
There it is right there. There it is right there.
Who's on his fantasy football?
Cavante Turpin. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just scored, but he's sitting on the bench with 20 points. So it's like, damn it.
Trusted
the Cowboys.
On the bench. Story of my life.
That's the Showtime right there.
Yeah. No one had to pick him.
We renamed the kid the other day.
That's
Showtime.
Right.
You lost your.
That's right. You might have lost your handle, Bobby. That kid came out of there, and it was like people were telling me to like go drink beer. They're like, get lost.
Yeah. Just bring Showtime in, they said.
And I don't know if you saw the part where like my voice was like messed up the whole night, and I'll let you go after this. So I was like, I was calling that kid to come over, just kind of joking around. And I look over and that dude's at my hip. He's like, hand me the mic. I'm like, holy shit. Come on, man. Jeez Louise.
That's great.
Good stuff. All right, man. There's the dates. I mean, for folks, keep checking in. HMP Oval Track. That's where all the information is going to be. There's your dates. Plan around it, and everything is going to be super cool. Owen, thanks for jumping in, man. I know you're busy. I'll see you this weekend.
Yeah, I think I can.
Yeah.
Way behind. Yeah. All right, buddy. I got to go.
Yeah. All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
You bet. There he goes. All right, Owen Pittman there. And seriously, that's the cool thing about that is that you do still have the dates. And I think that kind of something he was talking about is that last year it was one of those things to where, I mean, the dates were released right here on the show, as he always does with his dates. But the dates were out there. There were a lot of dates, and people just kept falling off the ladder. And I think that this, to where it is with the once a month, I mean, conceivably, the way you look at that, it does make it more an event of an event. And I think that concept's going to work a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's the quality over quantity, right? I mean, if you have less races but more people show up, I mean that can only, I'd rather have a hell of a show with 8 dates or 9 dates than have shitty shows with 10 to 12 dates, right? So
Yeah.
I think that, maybe it's going to be, it's kind of one of those, it's like no different than the Cup Series, moving to one. I bet that race in Richmond that they moved to Mexico City, I bet that spring race or whatever it is at Richmond's going to be packed because people ain't going to get a choice but to go to just that one race. So now, now you've got a chance to actually, come to the races and have, less opportunities to go, but yet that's not necessarily in a negative context. That just means get your shit together and get to the racetrack.
And I think that, like, from the fan perspective, and something that Owen talked about right there is about drivers that, go race in other places. And I do want to kind of piggyback on that. I knew he was working on things, so I didn't want to get too technical with that. But the fact, with some of the guys that don't race in Texas, that are from Texas, I mean, seriously, I mean, look at Pensacola. I mean, Mobile. Mr. Eddie does a really good job to where it seems like that Mobile market was one that was just so hungry. And when Gina opened that place up, it was like all these people showed up, and they've done a really good job because, they've got their hobby stocks, they've got their sportsmen, they've got all that, trucks and all that. You look at trucks, you look at Outlaws at Pensacola and Mobile, which to me, along the Gulf Coast, are really the kind of staples right there with those big half miles. And their car count sucks. I mean, on a regular night, that they are struggling. As a matter of fact, I mean, I went in there, and I don't have the graphic in front of me, Bobby, but I went in there and I looked, and it was like when it came to Outlaws and so forth, Houston was actually outdrawing Pensacola when it came this year to looking at that. So it's just really hard. And when it comes to the travel, because you look at Houston, Mobile, Cordele, and then, Pensacola, I mean, that's a lot of miles. That's a lot of miles. And folks can talk about, well, the diesel prices are going to go down and all that, but the race car prices ain't going down. That's the other part.
It costs the same to race it. It costs at least the same, if not more, to race it in Pensacola as it does in Houston.
Exactly.
And it's a whole lot closer. And believe it or not that we're trying to dog on people, there's a hell of a lot of fans that take their ass to Pensacola that don't bring their ass to Houston. And they're super duper fans of asphalt racing from Texas that don't support the Texas track. That's the only asphalt track we have left.
You can take off on a Thursday, drive to Pensacola for a Friday night, 8:00 race, Pensacola time, but you can't come to Houston.
Take a Saturday off and drive to Houston.
Take your day off, for crying out loud. Come to Houston, and that's frustrating. And I would totally get that if it wasn't everything that I was just talking about. If you wanted to go to Pensacola because they have 30 trucks, I get that. If you want to go to Pensacola because they have 25 modifieds, I get that. 25 Outlaws, but they have the same count Texas does. Same with Mobile. And I know that everyone's working hand in hand. And the other thing that I really learned here over the last, I'd say 4 years, is that when you talk to, because it was always with Texas, with the pavement stuff, to where Texas was always kind of catering to where it's like, okay, we're okay, decent, strong in Texas, so we can go run in Mobile, in Pensacola, and all these other places. They don't share that here. I mean, they don't. It doesn't reciprocate back to Texas, and that always kind of drove me up the wall a little bit until I got down there and started talking to those racers, to where it's like, look, we race on speed plants, we race on half miles, we race at Five Flags, we race at Mobile. We don't want to go run a 3/8.
Yeah.
A couple of the Mobile guys that came down and ran 3/8, they were like, well, this is pretty cool. We kind of like the bull ring, like we were talking about with JC, but they don't want to run the small track. They're not going to pay you back with that. And that's where it gets to to those promoters that want to co-op with Texas. They're co-oping to get us to go there. They're not going to be pushing their people to come.
They're going to push their people to come see us. They want us to go see them.
Yes, and that's good business. I mean, like with the legacies. Look, Owen was talking about the legacies. I love the legacy cars. I love the way that the thing has grown, but quite frankly, I don't care to watch them on a half mile because it's like, but you get them on the track in Houston, and it's really badass. So it's a lot. It's a lot that happens.
I'm still thinking about this Turpin thing. How bad he's doing on my, how good he's doing on my bench. But no, I mean, I don't know, dude. I just really the equation just doesn't add up.
No.
That's the main thing. And hopefully racers will prove us wrong. It's nice to see some of the different racers come up and try to support the class. And there's a lot of behind the scenes people that tries to make this thing work, tries to make this thing happen. So it's the equation just doesn't add up. And don't get me wrong, there are guys that are loyal as hell to that track. Every time that track is open, they are at the racetrack. They are there for practice. They are there for race day. Whether they finish first or finish dead last, they are there supporting that racetrack. And we love those people that do that. They're the heart and soul of the races. And hell, they're the reason that racetrack is probably still operating, is because they supported every chance they get. It's the other people that rather sit behind a keyboard and bitch about this and bitch about that, or decide to go, they want to run somewhere else. So that, I think, is the missing link in Houston. I don't know what we have to do to get it back, but we still need to spend 2025 trying to figure it out, trying to make it happen.
And this is a really good point right here that my man Foray makes. One of the diehards, one of the modifieds. I mean, he's going to show up. I mean, it's like you can count on your hand the folks that are going to show up. If their class is going to race, you can count on these hands who's going to show up. And Jason and his family are those people. I really think it's one of those things about dropping the purse. I mean, the purse, and this is where you get into the other conversation, to where it comes into the expense, to where it's like with the tire thing. I mean, I've told you so many times, Tim Bryant's a friend of mine, a trusted business friend. I love Miss Pat. I love all of those people over there. The Snowball Derby is a tire selling machine. They get out there every time that one of those pros, every time one, the trucks and the modifieds and all them, they don't get on the track very much. It's all those other ones, and they're going over there buying them Hoosier tires over and over and over.
Every time a race car hits the racetrack, it's got a brand new set of tires on it.
Every time. And they go recycle them back or whatever. But I mean, that is, to me, Snowball Week is a tire selling event. And that's great for Hoosier. That's great for Tim. That's great for all of them. And like I said, they're friends of mine. But I think that they would acknowledge that they do really well with that. It's one of these things to where it's like, if you want to cut the expense a little bit, don't go buy American Racers every practice session. And that's where, the track could be like, instituting a rule and all this, the gentleman's agreement. I mean, there's all these different things that you can do, but I think that's a really big deal right there. And, I've made that comment before, towards like, drop the purse. It's like, well, they're not going to show up. Well, fuck, they're not showing up anyway.
Yeah, right. What are you doing differently, right?
Yeah. I mean, so
if they're not showing up for 1,000 to win, they ain't going to show up for 800 to win.
Yeah. And these keep coming up. Let's hit the comments right here on the chat line. And Austin, we are not saying that they're a problem. We're just saying that it's one of those things to where it does get a little frustrating. And you know what the good thing about it is? You know why it does get a little frustrating for a track operator or whoever? Because they do show up. That only proves your point, is when you have a lot of them, that's when you tend to get different things that are going on. At 602 crates, I mean, people don't want to run crates. And that's where I think, where the Outlaw Series, we've talked to Cody Bruce on here multiple times, to where you go to those Ricky Brooks rules with their sportsmen or whatever they're calling them, to where they institute that, and nobody wants to do that right here. You want to have a home built motor. You want to spend all this money to go beat 6 cars. It just won't work. It just won't work here.
Yeah. Never understood that logic.
Yeah. So,
but it's the pink radiator cap. If everybody else is doing it, might as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, just getting caught up here. I was all kind of thrown off here. And it really is. I mean, I truly believe that however this thing shakes out, with Houston, the modifieds and the trucks are the staples. And that's not a slight at any of the other classes. The ones that are growing and doing really great things. I think that those are the ones that are going to bring people the sound, the color, the noise. I mean, when I say ground pounding modifieds, the ground does pound, even if there's only 6. I think it's one of those things, and I think the Outlaws are so important. And I'm glad that the Outlaws are kind of right there on the cusp in Houston of getting close to 10, because those really are cool looking race cars. And people get all jazzed up about it. And I'm with Owen. I think the stock car thing, maybe it's not going to work. Sorry, I'm pulling up the wrong shit over here. I think maybe the asphalt, maybe that's not going to work. Maybe you call that a good try. But Bobby, what's going to happen when Houston says, okay, no more factory stocks, what's going to be the response?
Well, they were a great class. Why aren't we racing them again?
I was going the next race.
Yeah, I was coming. I was building that car to race there full time.
Yeah. So anyway, but great discussion right there. There's the dates. Once again, we'll pull them up for you right here. The Houston dates, and I'm sure that they'll get this up on.
It's already up.
Oh, is it? Yep, there you go. Once a week, if you're planning to go there, you'll still have them great rates at the Holiday Inn and all that cool stuff. So looking forward to that right there. Thanks to Owen for checking in, being a part of the program tonight. Again, a big thanks to Kevin Rogers. Get yourself down to Corpus Christi. Like Bobby talked about, that Holiday Inn right there on the seawall, 707 South. I forget what it's called. I have it in the thing here. That's a great place to go hang out. Really cool hotel, great breakfast, all that cool stuff. Make a weekend out of that. Go check out all the cool stuff happening at the race ranch. And of course, our man, JC Umscheid, checking in with all the cool things that he's got to say. Really cool, fun program tonight, as we have gone way later than we had planned to, once again, because there are a lot of people watching.
Yeah, a lot of people watching. Now, granted, our focus has turned towards the NFL game. We're both intrigued by that. You're watching it to see if the Cowboys will score. I'm watching it to see if CJ Stroud's going to score and outbeat me. But it's one of those. Instead of the Showtime, you should call that kid the Showman.
Oh, that's Owen. Owen crowned him that. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like,
well, golly, I done lost my crown.
That I'm serious. That kid. That really made me excited. That it was so funny when his dad walks up and he's like, yeah, he can do this. I'm like, all right, whatever. I mean, full disclosure, I didn't want to do it. I didn't know the names. I'm like, I hadn't done my homework. It had been a rough week. That kid starts talking, and I'm like, okay, we need that. I mean, we need that. That's part of the whole thing that we talk about on the show, to where it's like, everybody, like we were talking about with JC, it's all about the racers and all that. We need tech people. We need people that want to be track officials. We need race announcers. We need
race directors.
Yeah. It's getting harder for Terry Barton to get up them stairs, for crying out loud. So we definitely do need all those people in place.
It's hard. But somehow, some way, they'll show up. We never thought we'd be in the capacities we are now. So you never know. It may take another 5 or 6 years, but there'll be others.
Yeah. Hopefully so. Great program. Again, thinking Texas Legends. I've got a message here about the Texas Legend cars. And again, the Legends have been phenomenal this year, because that is a thing where you go back and you look at, Bobby, you and I know it better than anyone else when it comes to pavement. Legacies and Legends were done. And full disclosure, in my opinion, they have carried Houston, because they show up and they put on those good races right there.
Yeah, they have. And remember when when Legend cars started with 2, now they got 10 to 12. So Jamie and the boys and Dane over there at Texas Independent Racing has been busting their ass and getting a bunch of race cars to the racetrack. So That's what it takes, behind the scenes people. So
that's what it takes. All right, you guys, be sure and get yourself out to Corpus this weekend. Go check that race out again if you can't get there. And it is always our number one priority, especially in a big race like this, that is going to be so helpful for the South Texas Race Ranch. If at all possible, get to the racetrack and check all the action out. If you can't get there to do that, you can check it out with our friends at RaceOn.com and sign up for that package right there, and you can check all of that action out. As we mentioned, coming up next week, we will have a very in-depth discussion with our man Ricky Brooks of the UARA National and Sportsman Division, as they've got the Bigley 128 Memorial happening at the Freedom Factory. That's coming up at the end of next week. So we'll talk to Ricky about that. And quickly, Bobby, your one thought here for kind of to the Cotton Bowl conversation. 2 things. Number one, Red Bull video. That was kick-ass.
Top notch.
All the way.
Yeah, did a lot of fun.
All the way.
I just wish I'd have known so I could have stalked some people up that day. So
that was a really cool thing right there, and good for Marianne and them, and they worked their ass off to get that thing done, because I guess it was right off of the Oktoberfest. So,
I think it was the Monday and Tuesday after Oktoberfest.
Damn, that was a lot. That was a lot that happens right there. CBS also adding the Junior Limiteds coming up in 2025. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's good as long as it doesn't cut into the show too much or extend the show.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of stuff to cram in a short period of time. So hopefully, I think in the beginning it's going to be a little bit of issues with a couple of extra cautions. Just with the kids trying to adjust to that big old new track. And so I understand why they did it. They got a class sponsor for it. That's hint. That's what you need to make classes happen at a racetrack. If you find somebody to help sponsor that class, there's a good chance that class will stay in the rotation at a racetrack.
Yeah, and I really hope that something that happens with that, and again, I would assume that that could be a deal with the Junior Limiteds at Cotton Bowl, to where you're going to piggyback off of what you get on Friday at Waco. That's a reasonable drive, to be able to make that trek over down 290, 35 to 290, to be able to do that. So hopefully that works out. But I would highly hope that if you get new folks out, and I think that this is something that maybe that Cotton Bowl ought to consider to do, even in their four-banger class, to where you get, I mean, seriously, Joe Spillman and them, and I know Joe has stepped away a lot from racing, but get those dudes in there and teach them the basics, because I saw a drastic change in the Junior Limiteds once they went in there and taught them the flags, taught them how to start, taught them racing etiquette, and I hope that happens, and that's my suggestion to Marianne and HE, is that do that, put that class on, put that 101 on, because it made a great difference in Waco.
Yeah, and I think with the amount of speed and the differences between Waco, I mean, you can't replicate what you do in Waco down at Cotton Bowl.
Yeah,
the driving styles are too different, and you're definitely not going to be able to put those limited chips with the same gearing that you put at Waco and Cotton Bowl. I mean, I'm no mechanical genius, but I don't see how that's going to work.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. So again, we'll dig into that. We'll probably have MA on here, or HE, or one, kind of get some of the thoughts on that. Last thing for you, Bobby, that I have, and again, it's like the last thing, and it's like this list of stuff. So are you excited for, again, I know we got 2025 coming up. So it looks like Memorial Day 2026, Canada, Indianapolis, and Charlotte.
Yeah, I noticed that today when they just kind of snuck that in. But the problem is Canada and Indy 500 are going to go head to head.
That's what I thought, right? I mean, that was a good thing about Monaco, because with the time zone change and all that, I hope they don't have simultaneous races going head to head.
They're going to have to.
Yeah. Sheesh. Run that shit on Saturday night. I mean, in Canada, maybe do a Saturday evening type of thing. I don't even know where they're racing. Where they're racing at
Montreal.
Oh, Montreal. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, not the biggest fan of that. Just leave it alone.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
To me, the Monaco thing has always been, I mean, I know that folks are going to complain about whatever, but it's just that's one of those nostalgia things, to where it's like, I saw today that A&M in Texas, the renewing of that rivalry, that's going to be a night game. I think that's really cool. I think that's really badass. But at the same time, I'm used to that being a day game. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those.
It was a night game when it was actually on Thanksgiving night.
On Thanksgiving night, that's right. But the fact that this is kind of going over to the next day, and I'm like, man, play this during the day. I think that's from the Texas side of me, to where it's like,
Kyle Field at night for the winner to be. Well, they got to play each other again. I mean, if Texas wins, they'll play each other again for the SEC championship game due to the tiebreaker, right?
Well, they got to get Georgia in there. They'll figure out a way to get Georgia in there. This SEC is going to be a mess. This is going to be.
Well, they're all a mess now because with BYU losing.
I got to tell you. So that's one of those things where last week I was looking at the lines, and I think a lot of people were like, with all of that, I really thought, I didn't talk in detail about it, I really thought that BYU was going to lose that game.
They should have lost the Utah game.
They should have lost the Utah game. And now this week is going to be really interesting because now with Indiana, dude, they're going to get boat raced on Saturday. I think.
Can you imagine Indiana and Florida in the Big Ten title game, or Indiana and Oregon? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nobody had Indiana on their bingo card, but we'll see. They're stepping into the deep end of the pool in Columbus, so we'll find out how good they really are.
No, they're going to get shellacked. I think is what's going to happen right there. So anyway, we'll see. That's why you play the games. All right, great show tonight. Kevin Rogers, thank you. JC Umscheid, thank you. Owen Pittman, thank you. You guys hit the Race Ranch Facebook page, hit the Houston page. All of that will be followed up right there. Rest of the week, dude. Are you heading to Corpus, my man? Are you
working on it? I'm supposed to do a family dinner with my sister and my parents on Sunday.
Call in sick.
I can't call in sick for that one, but it depends on how the logistics work. I got to find out what time the Thanksgiving deal is on Sunday before I determine
Thanksgiving. Okay.
The Thanksgiving deal.
Okay.
So we're doing an early Thanksgiving because my sister's going out of town.
Okay.
And so for my dad moving from place to place, it becomes a challenge to try to set something up. So we'll see. Depending on how that shakes out, depends on whether I get a Corpus or not.
Yeah. I'll be heading to the Race Ranch on Saturday is the current plan for me. That was supposed to be a Friday and Saturday, but now I got to work on Friday. What the hell? So anyway, I've got to do that. So it's going to be a Saturday thing for me, and it's going to get a little complicated because I'm slated to do post game for the Texas-Kentucky game. So I need to get a little bit of help there for, 30 minutes or so, but it's all going to work out. I think it's going to be a great weekend at the Race Ranch, and I think that on-demand shirts, the South Texas Shootout, is going to be something pretty cool. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Hopefully I can make it. If not, I know that we have friends down there that'll keep us abreast, and I'll be able to watch it on RaceOn. So
you can watch it on RaceOn, or somebody will have it on Facebook.
One or the other. Yeah.
Don't do that. Come on, man. That's money going back to the racetrack. All right, you guys, thank you for being a part of this, whether you were checking in on RaceOn, on Racing America, RevvedUpSportsShow.com, Texas Sports Unfiltered app, all the different places. Podcasts coming up, and you'll find that at every podcast provider. Again, next week, a reminder, Ricky Brooks joins us, Bigley 128 Memorial Preview. That'll be coming up at the end of that week, happening at the Freedom Factory in Florida. All right, you guys have a great week. Enjoy the rest of the Dallas Cowboys, Houston Texans Governor's Cup action, and we'll do it again coming up next Monday. Bobby's down south. I'm Rodney, and I am up north. # Real Race Talk. Find a racetrack near you, or find a streamer and support short track racing. You guys be good. We'll see you next Monday.